that's why it was easy to make. It's not like, oh, let's meet and make like a song.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what you're doing. He had the vision of what he wanted to do, so it was easy.
Justice, our duo, is here. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the studio. Thanks for the time.
Hello, bro. Thanks for receiving us.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Great.
Yeah. It's been a great year already. I mean, congrats on Neverender. Hyperdrama. How has the year been so far? It's May. Feels like it's flying by. How would you describe it?
Yeah, we can't believe how fast it's going and that the album is 1 year old already. No, it feels pretty good. Like we're embracing the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Still trying to process all the small things that are happening. It's feeling good.
Yeah, I'm sure it flies by when you have new stuff out. And you guys took a hiatus for a little bit, right? Was it like 7 years? Close to that?
We didn't really. The thing is that we are just very slow at making things.
Yeah.
And we only took maybe like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months of holidays.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's just the process that took that long? I was going to ask if you like, the whole thing was like cold turkey, no music, but you're always working on music, right?
Yeah, like we by the time we finished like the touring and everything from the previous album, it was 2019 already.
Yeah.
And we started like working just after the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
And we spent 3 years working on this album. It was long, but it didn't feel painful. It was just like relax.
Yeah, it was like the right amount of time to make what you made.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how does it feel getting back to things? Like, does perspective change at all? Or is it just like the right amount of time to come into it with fresh eyes? Because I'll take a vacation and I'll come back and I'm like, oh, my brain works again.
Yeah, but our secret is that we take vacations every other week. So we would
Yeah.
work 1 week on the record, then take 1 week off.
Perfect.
Then come back, just in order to always be a bit fresh and also wanting to go there, because when you spend too much time not stopping, then you start like saturating and focusing on maybe the wrong details.
Yeah. I'm going to tell my boss that. Like, we need at least every other week off.
And that would be healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do that recharges you the most?
Just hanging out with family, eating well, just seeing other things.
Yeah. Well, Hyperdrama, it's an album that you say you should listen to from front to end, which obviously there's people who love albums, people who prefer singles nowadays. It seems to lean more singles, but like, what do you do to make the fans, make sure to start with it at the beginning and listen to it all the way through?
Unfortunately, we have no control over that. We make albums to be listened to that way. We know that there's maybe 0.001% of people who take the time. And that's fine, because it's a huge commitment to sit down for an hour and listen to something, And even ourselves, we don't do it so often. So we completely understand that people don't have time to do that.
That's true. It's a busy world. What is a detail, though, on the album that you're like particularly proud of that maybe us as like the non-music, makers wouldn't notice?
What is it? There's so many details. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
There is a beer bottle hidden somewhere on the record.
Yeah, like the percussion that you hear in your left ear on Neverender is made with a beer bottle. Like at the end when we recorded some of the parts to produce the song, we had a drummer to make some tracks, and we told him, because we demoed it as a triangle, like the ting 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 ting, and we told him, can you play that with a triangle? And he listened to the track and he said, no, I'm gonna do it with a beer bottle. Give me a beer. So he drank the beer.
What?
And then he played it just with a beer bottle. And we have a video of this actually. He's an amazing drummer. Like he plays like every time you hear live drums on the record, that's him. And he's like he's like a classical musician. Then he was playing in jazz band, so he's a jazz drummer. And we love people who are not afraid of doing things a bit differently. Like sometimes he would play the hi-hat with his hand because he would play and we would keep on telling him without seeing him, like make it softer. And at some point, that's it. And we went to see him and he was playing with one stick in one hand and just with his hand.
Whoa. It's like, is that your toe? He's just breaking out different body parts. That's crazy about the beer bottle, though, too. Is he like drinking a little bit to change the keys, or how does that?
The right amount to make it.
Right amount of beer. I love that. And for the majority of other instruments, you guys played the most of them, right?
Yeah. Like the only things we didn't do were the drums and the orchestra on the generator.
Is that just because you have a very specific vision for it and you'd rather do it yourself?
That's one thing, and the other thing is that we didn't want any of these instruments to sound like real instruments. And so like we know that we have to make it ourselves in order to get what we want. Otherwise, we would have like those musicians stuck with us for like weeks.
Really?
So we do it ourselves. Yeah.
It's almost like a different language within the instruments.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Well, congrats on all the work with Wake Me Up with The Weeknd.
Thank
that was
you.
so cool.
Thanks.
I mean, being the opening track on the album, do you go into it with a different mindset, knowing that it's going to be the first song off the project?
Yeah. And that was the initial idea of this track. When he got in touch with us, that was a long time ago. We were still working on our album. That was like the thing he wanted, like to make something that sounds like a proper intro. And that was his idea, to make something like classical music. So that's the first section of the song we started to work on. And yeah, it's definitely, that's a very clear brief. So we know exactly that's why it was easy to make. It's not like, oh, let's meet and make like a song.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what you're doing. He had the vision of what he wanted to do, so it was easy.
Okay, amazing. You guys have talked about how much sci-fi themes and movies have kind of impacted the sound. Is there any specific that come to mind, like that you would say have been the most influential?
Yeah, but it's definitely Blade Runner,
Yeah,
like the
oh my
old
gosh.
one, and Akira. And both for the same reasons. First is that we saw them being kids, so they are like they really impregnated us. And the other thing is that because of the time period they were made in, there was a thing about like craftsmanship and also like the amount of means you put to do something that makes that, like when you look at Blade Runner, you believe everything because there's not so much CGI, it's really matte painting and miniatures and everything. And that makes it still more believable today than any modern films.
Yeah.
And Akira is the same thing. They had like almost like unlimited like teams and budget to do like an animation film. And there's something with the handmade type of stuff that you still can't really replicate now with CGI and computers. So
Yeah. I was just reading about that with like Indiana Jones even, you know, like that big rock was real that was chasing him. And you can't recreate that with CGI and make it believable. So I know exactly what you mean. Like it's so important and it just lasts more in your head.
But like everything, like whether it's a film or record or whatever, there's the main core of things, and then it's the accumulation of small details that really make a difference at the end. And just the fact that a boulder is gonna have like some texture and some weight is gonna behave in a way that a computer can't really program and understand.
Yeah, you can't fake it.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. Well, you guys have been together for a while now working. What is like the best thing about being a duo, and maybe the worst thing about being a duo in this day and age?
The best thing is that because we're two, there can't be any coalitions. You know, if we are three, then there would be like two of these people that would get together, like to try to backstab the third one.
Yeah, that's true. That could be the worst thing too. No, I'm just kidding.
When you are two, it's like perfectly democratic. And the worst thing, I can't really see any downside being two.
Yeah. Maybe the expenses. No. You got to pay for double.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's totally fine when you guys are working on it. You've headlined some of the biggest festivals in the world. What's been the most like stressful part of translating your sound from a studio to a stage like that?
Well, like the tricky thing is like to because when we make a record, we don't take like the efficiency of it in consideration at all. So we make records and we make them to feel good for us at the moment we're listening to them. Playing live is like the opposite of that. We have to make sure that it hits the people in a certain way, that it will work with people who don't know our music, because we play a lot of festivals and a lot of people attending. Maybe they know one track, sometimes they don't even know who we are, what music we're making. So it becomes a bit more like a scientific, it's more like a scientist work. And we have to make all this work imagining how it's gonna be with an audience, which is like sometimes deceitful, because you can't really predict what's gonna. You can only predict an amount of what's gonna happen, and the rest is a mystery until you make it on stage.
Yeah. In the studio sessions, is there any one thing that you guys need to take in there with you, whether it's a musical side or something non-musical? Otherwise, you're like, you know what, we got to do it a different day. What's the one necessity when you're going in for a session?
Our computer, and really that's it.
Yeah,
it's
all you need.
That's the beauty of 2025.
Yeah.
Is that now a laptop
Yeah.
like has so much power.
Oh yeah.
Like and even like 5 years or 6 years ago, it was not possible. But no, other than that, we're not attached to any tool.
That's good.
Or to any synth or any, because it's almost like every song or every project needs a different set of tools.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be relying on specific plugins or machines.
No,
or
of
whatever.
course. It's like that with so many jobs now, right? You can do it from anywhere. Where's like one of the most unique places you've been working on a song?
Well, nothing really special. Like everyone else, we do like hotel rooms,
Yeah.
Trains, planes.
Anything mobile.
Yeah.
On the move.
Anywhere there's electricity.
Yeah. I saw something cool that like the All American Rejects were doing. You know, they're doing this house party tour where people can sign up on their website and they might come to your house and like put on a show, which is just it's such a clever idea, but also so random. What is like the most random event that you might want to play at?
I think we had our fair share of weird places, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
We played like we refer to it as the techno cave. It was somewhere in Germany.
It was a cave?
It was a proper cave.
Wow.
Yeah, we
only dudes in army clothes. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
We were playing like proper like raves. It's not even raves. I don't know what it was. Germany, you take like 3 planes, then you drive 5 hours. You are in a cave, and you play at 7 a.m. You know.
In a cave.
Yeah, so that was.
It was up at 7 a.m.
And then you go to get paid in another cave, and there's a guy with a table and just like stacks of money in front of him, and you just go there, you take your stack. You
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we got you booked for a rave. Oh, rave? We said cave. Like, this sounds like an email typo or something. Nope, it's a real cave. That's wild. Well, congrats on all the success. It's so fun to see Neverender. Is it like unique when a song does that? Because I'm sure you don't make music expecting it to be like, you know, #1 or a hit on the radio. What's the feelings like when you see it doing so well commercially, I guess?
Yeah, it's amazing because that's one of the things we like. There's a handful of people on earth who know how to make these songs. We definitely are not those people. And even Kevin Parker, even if Tame Impala is huge, I don't think he makes things intentionally, and that's why we love this Tame Impala so much. It's because it managed like to be something very significant without compromising on anything and still being very particular and specific. And it's great. Like when we wrote the song, like the 3 of us, we felt good about it because we felt lighthearted about it. But then it's only when we played it at Coachella last year before the album release, so the song was not known, that we saw that people had an immediate reaction on something they don't know, which we took as a good omen. And it's cool. We always say that a hit is a collective hallucination. You don't know why a song makes it somewhere. It's just that at some point there's a bunch of people who think, oh, this is what I want to hear. And this is something that we don't really have any control over, so it's cool.
There's no test like Coachella, right, to debut something? What a spot.
Yeah, it was very stressful to start there. But at the same time, it's great because you learn a lot more about your show and what to improve by starting playing your first show there.
Oh yeah.
Than by playing, for example, a show for like your audience.
Yeah.
And they are much more forgiving.
Yeah.
You play a big festival like this, you will know exactly immediately what works
instant
and
feedback,
what
right?
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that they, grabbed onto it so well. It's someone like a Tame Impala too, where it's such a nostalgic sound, with his voice and obviously your music that, I'm not surprised at all that people grabbed onto it right away. But, well, lastly, on that song, like we're playing it on the radio coming up on the show. What is the mindset? What should people be doing in their cars and while they're listening to this song? Paint the picture for them.
They should remember the hardest of the times that they can't forget.
Yeah.
No, I mean for us, it's cruising music, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you go somewhere, like here it's perfect, Los Angeles.
Yep.
You ride, you put the music not too loud, and you just embrace the world and the beauty of it.
Absolutely. Keep the seatbelts on. No swerving.
Yeah, safety
Enjoy
first.
the ride. Well, congrats on everything. It's really cool to meet you guys in person. Thanks for the time, and good luck on all the shows. Can't wait to see you out on the road soon.
Thank you.
Bru.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thanks.
Enjoy that video? See more interviews, more performances, and more of your favorite artists by subscribing and downloading the free Audacy app.